And I will just start by saying I want to acknowledge that I am coming to this from Hueyatai or Laskiti Island, which is traditional unceded territory of the Sliaman people. And I am super grateful to the land and the more than human beings who have been here for millennia, who have nurtured both the land and the people who have been here also for millennia. And I am grateful to the ancestors who have cared for this place, and I commit to being a better guest than the ones who have come before. So thank you. And would anybody else like to add their own land acknowledgement?
I think, Suzanne, what you said was beautiful, and I would just echo that for the Coast Salish Nation, the Quitsin people, and that's where the land that I am speaking from.
Thank you. All right, well then, let's get cracking with the awesome Darlene Huff, who is who has shared her wisdom with us before in the Soroptimist Leadership Institute, and Darlene is a super duper team builder and has done that in big companies, and she has done that as a consultant as well. And so I'm just going to turn it right over to you, Darlene, and as I will mute myself, and as folks come in, I will admit them.
Great, thank you, thank you. Well, I'm really excited to be here today, and especially with the topic, turning tension into teamwork. Even in this last week, it seems like each and every one of my clients is dealing with this. So it's everywhere. It's how are we dealing with this tension that maybe is more than we've had in quite a while, personally and professionally. And so I think for today, what my ultimate intent for all of you is that bottom line that you're going to walk away with being more confident and being able to lead through conversations, lead through tension more effectively and with better results and feeling much better about it. So I think to start off, this is going to be a very interactive workshop. So lean in, start to leaning in, and to start off with, I'd just like you to go through and find the chat button at the very bottom. Actually, no, the reaction button.
Oh.
And when you hit the reaction button, there's a send with effects or reactions. And so I'd like you to just go through and how are you feeling now about leading through tension? And you can send with effects, which is my personal favorite, or you can just send the reaction. All right. Okay. Well, definitely, there's some really strategic things that we're going to learn today, or we'll revisit because they may not be something new, but we are going to take the opportunity to go into some breakout rooms and to practice some of this. So for today, I'd like you to go through and in the chat, you just heard what my intention is, that you're going to walk away feeling more confident to lead through tension. What's the one thing in one word that you'd like to walk away with today? So find your chat button. Hi, Penny. I'm glad you're here. Great. Thanks, Shy. Self-assurance. Suzanne, confidence. Great. Thank you. Kathy, strategies. We'll get some of those for sure. Better listening skills. Thanks, Barb. Lana, tips. Good. Good. Okay, so note that down. So by the end, make sure that I'm holding you each accountable to make sure that you're getting this one thing that you've showed up for today. Okay, so I just want to go through and start off with, have you ever heard of WOWs? It's called Ways of Working. And so it's a really great way to go through and either get consensus of maybe you're starting a new group or starting a new project, or maybe a team's a little bit off the rails, you can pull them back in and create a new wow ways of working. And so today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce the wows that I'd like us to operate from tonight. And so, first of all, suspend judgment and assume positive intent. So, everybody feel good about that? Suspending judgment for today? Hands up. Yay. Good. Thank you. Do what you need to do to stay. Thank you, Shy. um, do what you need to do to stay present. If you need to take your notifications off, your cell phone, move it away, whatever you need to do to stay present. We only have a brisk hour and 15 minutes left. It's going to go really, really quickly. Welcome, Helen. I'm glad you're here.
Thank
Um,
you.
and the other thing too is that if there's something that I might need to move us along to stay on track, so do you give me permission to move us along? Do I have a yay? Okay, all right. And then the last thing is a parking lot. Another really good facilitation tip when you're in a group. There may be some things I may just say, we don't have time for this. Put it in a parking lot and we'll visit it. Send me all your parking lot ideas and I'll respond to them. So again, we're not maybe going to be able to cover everything fully. So if you have more questions and we need to move along, parking lot it and send me an email. I'll be more than happy to answer anything. All right, so agreement, yes, cool, cool.
Yes.
All right, good, okay. So I wanted to start off and go through and share some statistics with you. There we go. Okay, 86% of all teamwork challenges are due to unresolved issues, unclear communication, or derailed intentions. So if something's not quite working right in your team or in your group, kind of look at this. What's unresolved? What's uncommunicated? Where has something derailed where you were expecting or wanting something and it didn't happen? 50% of all unresolved conflicts lead to turnover. So really important when you're looking at a nonprofit and you're valuing those members. So those unresolved conflicts are really important to be able to go through and say what needs to be said in a kind, compassionate, teamwork way. And then teams that effectively communicate are 25% more effective than others that don't. So a huge reason to be able to go through and practice, how do we go through and lean into the tension rather than lean out and back out? All right. So I wanted to start off with, first of all, thinking about what is the ideal culture, ideal group? How do you want to really feel in your group? So ideal, what's the ideal? Because I think that sometimes, what do we want this to look like? What do we want this all to feel like? And it might be your individual group, or it might be the group, our whole group, the West Shore Online. What is the ultimate ideal group? What would it look like? What would it feel like? So take a moment to think about that, maybe on your notes, jot down 1, 2, or 3 words that would describe that ideal team. And once you've got that, throw that in the chat. Great. Well done. Diverse, communicative, adaptive, feel fun. Feel fun. I sometimes would say, what's your fun factor today? We're all working so hard. Are you having fun? So making sure that we're having fun. We get more work done and better work done when we're having fun. Rewarding, informative. Great. That's where we want to live. But, stuff gets in the way, right? And so what is what would you say actually? What are some of the roadblocks? What's sometimes hard? Where do we derail as a team? In a couple words, put that down. And I'll save this chat and I'll send it to you too. Or I guess you all will have the chat. Kind of a fun thing that I've been practicing or trying on with the chat GPT is to go through and take things like take this chat and put it into chat GPT and get it to summarize for you. Summarize the top themes. Yeah,
We use it all the time at work.
it's so fun. I call my buddy chat all the time.
I work at a law firm, and when they meet new clients or when they meet with clients, I get all of the chat GPT. Like it's like, oh, look at that. That's a long meeting. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
but very effective because it's all written.
absolutely. So where sometimes is it not going right? Where are some of the rubs in the team, in the group? Not clear who's fabulous. Yep. Who's responsible? Sometimes not making clear agreements. I think if I could twitch my nose with all my clients, that would be the one thing I would do. Like clear agreements. I would just work on that. All right. What else?
Yeah, we've
Not
got
ideal.
misunderstandings and personalities and different ideas and yeah, feeling unheard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Feel free to either put it in the chat or speak it out loud, whatever you feel most comfortable. This is a challenge by choice, but I am going to challenge you to choose to lean in. All right, someone goes on a tangent. Great. Respecting boundaries. Perfect. Yeah, all this. So I want you to go through and take a look and scan up and down that list. What are you noticing? Yeah, good one, Kathy. Feeling left out. Good. Feelings. Thank you, Penny. Yeah. Not understanding sometimes how I think we all have really good intentions. I believe each and every one of you have good intentions, and yet sometimes the impact might not match the intention. Not asking, good, good, awesome, really, really good. Okay, so I want to go through and put you into breakout rooms. So your prompt is,
yeah.
now that you've had a chance to look at what is the ideal group that you want to feel in, look in, operate in, what's happening now? What do you notice?
Okay.
What do you want to accomplish? Give you 5 minutes.
Okay, can you say that over again?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Barb. So the prompt is, now that you've had a chance to scan, what's ideal? What do we really want to operate like? What's kind of getting in the way?
Okay.
Now with that, what's becoming more clear? Okay, 5 minutes to have a discussion and make sure everybody has a chance to chat. Identify one spokesperson and a key theme or any ahas.
Okay, here we go.
All right, 1, 2, 3, let's go. Welcome back, ladies.
And yes, and we have a theme. Penny, do you want to be our spokesperson?
I'm not sure, but sure, I will.
There you go, Leland. I love it. All right. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Okay, so team, Suzanne, I guess Penny, you are the spokesperson.
Sure. Okay. I think we spoke predominantly about clear communication
Mm,
and ensuring that everybody is informed, not just of the concept, but of the details.
mm,
That it's everybody needs to know exactly what's going to be happening and not just taking over and doing things and not informing those who perhaps didn't make a meeting, whether it's a committee meeting or a club meeting, and really very clear minutes, not just that discussion happened,
Mhm.
What were the specifics, not word for word necessarily, but what were the real details of that discussion?
Good. Great. Well done. Okay, so now let's go to your reaction button and let's give Penny some love. Well done.
Thank you.
Yay.
Suzanne and Helen, I think that was exactly what we spoke about. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for going first and leaning in. All right. So the next team, that would be Barbara, Kathy, Lana, and Shy.
Okay. So we were looking at what causes the tension, and a lot of it's miscommunication. We come together with a lot of different backgrounds and different fears, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with conflict or conflict resolution. So it's really, I think, important in some ways to know people's backgrounds and what may traumatize them, really, actually, what may traumatize them. So that's an important thing to think about. Um, a lot of people are afraid to open up. They don't trust people, and so they just sit and listen and don't communicate or take in what you're saying as well. So it's really the objective is to know your team and also come together with common goals, but recognizing that everyone has a different lens than what you have.
Really,
And
really
then
good.
also our ideal team would look at communication specifically and what are the expectations and that they're known by everyone with giving feedback as well, and knowing each person and letting everyone have a voice.
Good. Wow. Okay, we're done. We can just, well done, ladies. Well done. All right. All of that, I think you're gonna see embedded in the next little bit. But specifically today, you're gonna walk away with three things. First of all, speak so that you can be heard.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through and we're gonna use a little technique called the 5 whys. Is anybody familiar with the 5 whys? Oh, I get to teach you something new. All right. Okay, number 2 is, okay, what really is getting in the way of that effective communication, that teamwork, that clarity? So yeah, what's really getting in the way? We're going to talk about that a little bit. And number 3, we're going to give you a framework that you can use, an easy framework that you can speak with confidence, you can communicate with confidence while getting really clear agreements. All right, so everybody up for the road show? All right. Hey, so before we do that, let's go through and find our reaction buttons again, and let's give Barb some love. Yay! All right. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so speak so others can hear you. This is probably one of the most common things I hear from my mid-level managers where they're trying to get agreement or trying to say the house is on fire, really, really, to their bosses. Well, what they're doing is they're not really, first of all, connecting with what's really important to that person. So it's important to go through, like Barb's team said, to really know what's important, know what that other person comes to the table with. So what's purpose and values? What's important to them? Because if you're speaking to, has anybody ever done the DISC assessment? Highly recommend, super simple. But if you're dealing with a driver, they want bottom line numbers and they want them fast. So if you are a cautious, you're going to say the numbers, but you're going to say it really slow and maybe give way too much detail. So really important to know who your audience is so that you can speak, so that they can hear you. It's their language, not yours. Actively listening. So I love the saying from Conversational Intelligence, Judith Glaser, listen to connect. not judge, reject,
Hmm.
reply, or appease. Actively listen. Listen to what's being said, and maybe also listen to what's not being said. You can know you're really actively listening when you can build on what they're saying. You have a conversation. It's not just confirming information, but you're iterating the conversation. That's active listening. Compassion. Speak with compassion. As to Barb's group, everyone comes to the table with different sets of skills and understanding.
Mhm.
It might just be a misunderstanding. So stay curious. Curiosity is an antidote to judgment. So stay curious, stay compassionate. Bottom lining, sometimes we just talk a little bit too much. It's important to use the leadership skill, personal leadership skill of bottom lining. Get to the essence as quick as you can, because otherwise you're going to lose people. Systems thinking, that's the ability to be able to go through and look at everything in front of you and pull pieces out and put together a thought, a proposal, an action. Systems thinking. Testing assumptions, my personal favorite. And so it could sound like, hey, Darlene, it kind of sounds like
Mm.
I might be wrong, but maybe I'm getting this feeling that. What's another one? But testing, if you're feeling something, then speak it in a kind and compassionate way without attachment. Hey, Darlene, I'm getting the sense that there's something I've said that's really troubled you. Can we talk about it? So I'm not saying you spoke in a way that now is causing us problems. What I'm saying is I'm picking up an assumption here. Can I clear it? The more that we can build this muscle to test assumptions, to clear what's in front of us, then we're not piling stuff on top of each other. Have you ever thought of, oh, you didn't clear something, you knew you should have said something, and then something happens, you go, there she does it again. Oh my gosh, see, there it is again. I knew it. Yeah. And so keep it clean. Keep it clean as much as you can. And as you're practicing this skill of testing assumptions and clearing assumptions, be gentle with each other. It sometimes is a little clunky at the beginning, so be gentle with each other. And then the 5 whys. This really gets to number 1. What's really important? What's at the essence? Bottom line, what's really going on? So what I want to do is I want to go through and have you all participate in this. So we're going to play 5 whys, and I'm going to be the one. So all you have to do is you just have to say, and Darlene, why is that important? Darlene, why is that important? Okay, that's all you, or you can say, yeah, just say, why is that important? Okay, so let me just say, how about, okay, one of the biggest challenges that I'm sensing is happening is managers are feeling crushed. And I think there is going to be a real difficult time for mid-level managers and leaders in general because they're getting squished from all sides. Could be very similar to your group, to our group, to that we're getting squished from all sides. So somebody
why
can
is
jump
that?
in. Yeah, why is that important? Is when we're reacting under stress, we can't give our best.
And why is that important?
I think generally all of us want to show up and do our best. And when we don't, there's a sense, I think, of responsibility or that I didn't give my best, that I think that gee, we don't need to deal with if we could just do our best.
Really? Tell me why. Why is it important?
Yeah, thanks, Helen. We all want to contribute to the team. I do believe that 95% of us come to do our very best, and we really want to be an active contributing member to the team. And we don't, we kind of feel bad.
And why is that important?
I think why it's important to recognize when we're not feeling part of the team and not contributing, and take that full responsibility for our feelings. And it's nobody else's responsibility but my own. I can't be my best, and I can't do my best when I'm feeling bad, and I own that. But it's not always so easy. Okay, we could keep going, and it's I usually go to nine whys.
Oh, okay.
And by the time that you get to the ninth why, I call it piercing the armor. You can really get to what's really going on for me.
Okay.
So even what I said, yes, Penny, go ahead.
And that fifth one is why we lose members.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, good. Thank you, Penny. Thank you. Yeah, and so I think when you can go through and you don't have to do the 5 whys, you can, but there's different ways that you can ask that, but what's really important, so that when you get to what's really important, like if I feel I can't contribute to the team, I will leave. I will leave. And I have left. So knowing that helps us all understand where our values are and what our purpose is.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So that's number 1. Speak so others can hear you. Now let's go into number 2. Number 2 is we kind of all have these walls of thought. We've got this thought and this thought and this thought. Well, we have 80,000 thoughts, up to 80,000 thoughts a day. And 85% of them are negative and repetitive. And so if I have this wall of thought, and you have this wall of thought, and you have this wall of thought, then it's just hard to get through. So understanding that we all have got this stuff going on in our head, and to be empathetic and compassionate and speak in a way that I can hear you. And when that doesn't happen, we have a tendency of diving into the drama triangle. And we either fall into villain, victim, hero. My preferred favorite is I will be the hero. That's okay. I can fix it. I'll come in and be the hero. But what ends up happening is when I come in to be the hero, I've created a victim. You're not good enough. I'll do it because you can't. Instead of going through and helping that person actually rise up. Sometimes if I'm in a victim mode, guess what? I've found a villain. It's all your fault. Funny little story. Hope my husband can't hear. We went for a hike yesterday, and he was ahead, and there was this great big huge tree kind of halfway fallen down. We had to scoot underneath it. I was just focusing on getting, all of a sudden, boink, I hit my head really, really hard. And I said, thanks a lot. You were leading. And I hit my head. And then later, so I made him out to be a villain, because I was a victim. I had a sore head. And later on, about 10 minutes later, I said, I'm sorry. It's not your responsibility to make sure I don't hit my head. It's my responsibility. So I apologize. But in that moment, oh yeah, I was a victim and he was the villain. And so the only way, and the reason why I tell you that story is the only way out of the drama triangle is to take 100% responsibility. I could have said, darn, I could have let that linger a long time, but I didn't. I said, you know what, actually, it's not your job to make sure I don't hit my head. It's my personal responsibility. I took 100% responsibility and apologized. Yeah. Suzanne, you
And
have a question?
yes, well, one of the things that I find very difficult is encouraging people to take responsibility, to address the question of, so what was your role in that?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's what's your 1%? Don't take, it may not have been all of you, but what is your 1%? And then fully own the 1%. Yeah. So does that, I'd kind of like to hear, let's just take everybody off mute. I'd like to hear what you're getting from, the wall of thought and the drama triangle, and how we need to be thinking about who we are and maybe who the other is, so that we can speak that how, and so that we can be heard. What's making sense?
Well,
Sorry, I was going to say, I never thought of it, the fact that if somebody steps up to be the hero, it puts somebody else in the victim position.
Mhm.
And I think that's very powerful. I know both at work and with the club, it is listening and then saying, okay, I hear what you're saying. So how do we fix it? How do we fix it?
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
never a how are you going to fix it? How am I going to fix it? There's a we involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good, Kathy. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else?
yeah, many decades ago, a staff person was putting together a bed in the women's shelter that we were going to be opening at the end of that week. And she said, I can't figure this out. And I said, oh, it's easy. And went in there and figured it out right away. And she told me later that made her feel so stupid. And I've remembered that ever since.
Mhm.
Yeah, playing the hero, it's my
Yeah.
role, it's what I do. And
Mm.
and much more effective to say, what can we do?
Yeah. 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 Really good. So just know if there's some tension, that one of you or all of you are hanging out in the triangle. And the only way out is take full responsibility. To notice, I always kind of talk about the three selves of personal and interpersonal leadership. Self-awareness, that I'm even in the triangle. Self-manage, what do I need to get myself out of the triangle? And leading myself and others out of the triangle. Okay. And so this is the 7 levels of organizational and group effectiveness. So who's heard the term below the line? Put your hand up. Have you heard I'm operating below the line? Or yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, that's what this is. This green line here is a line, power and freedom line. And so the very bottom is hopelessness. When you're in hopelessness, you can only be effective 5% of the time.
Mhm.
When you're in fear, and
It's easy.
underneath most procrastination and most of inappropriate or not effective performance or behavior is a fear. There's the 3 core human needs or fears: shame, abandonment, and betrayal.
Hmm.
So often there's something going on with one of those 3 here in fear. So in fear, you can only be effective 10% of the time. Frustration. You can only be effective 20% of the time. So you're leaving 80% of your personal effectiveness on the table. But frustration's got a lot of energy. It can sometimes help you just say, damn it already, and get the courage to move up over the line. So notice if you're in that frustration, use that energy to get you into something more positive, which is courage, is the first step over the power and freedom line. And encourage your effective 55% of the time. Huge jump from 20.
Yeah.
Huge jump. Just get over the line and help each other. Engagement. Engagement is 70% of the time. Innovation, 80, and synchronicity is 90 and above. And synchronicity is, has anybody ever worked in a really high performance team that it just felt effortless and that you've had such freaking crazy results and it was so much fun? It didn't feel like work. Yeah, that's synchronicity. So keep in mind the effectiveness. If you're feeling below the line, what do you need to do to get yourself above the line? Lots of different strategies, breathing, taking 3 deep breaths in, 3 long exhalations out. That strategy of breathing actually signals to your vagus nerve, you're okay. We got this. It actually tells your heart, it slows your heart rate down by breathing deeply in and a long, deep breath out. And doing that 3 times, and you signal to your heart, it's okay. We got this. Don't worry, we got this. And you can do that anywhere. So just one little tip there. All right. So what are you all feeling about the 7 levels of effectiveness? How does that resonate for you? What's true for you?
Well, I can absolutely see how fear is a huge block. Whether it's, shame relates to not doing something right or not doing something well enough. That would be it for me. And I guess the abandonment is, what's the worst that can happen if you actually talk about the tension is somebody's going to blow up or somebody's going to leave or somebody's going to um, uh, quit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's all that fear writing underneath. Yeah, right. Good. Okay. I might change this around. Let me just go to this other slide because this might be more appropriate. Let me go into who's heard of fear melters? Okay. Great way to kind of get yourself above the line. So have you ever heard of the freeze, fight, flight, or fawn? Yeah. Well, these all directly relate. So if you're feeling like you're kind of in a fight, how about everybody stand up? You're in somewhere where you can do this. Stand up and play along with me. Here we go. Okay, so if I'm in fight, my body is tense. I'm just kind of ready for a fight. So how do you want to ground yourself? Is you want to just soften. You want to ooze. So ooze with me. Ooze with me. Yeah. And so you might be in a meeting and you can't ooze, but be thinking of ooze.
You can move your feet though.
Right.
Good.
Good.
I've done that.
Yes. Good. Or ooze your hands
Yeah.
or maybe just get up and maybe go to the bathroom and ooze. But break the cycle,
Yeah.
break it. If you're feeling like you need to run, get out of there, flee. What you want to do is you want to root. You want to stick those feet deep, deep into the ground, deep heels into the ground, and get rooted. If you feel like running, get rooted. Freeze. That's sometimes what I'll do. If I feel overwhelmed, I'll freeze. And sometimes I can't even speak. And so what disrupts that is wiggle, 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 wiggle. And what you're trying to do is you're giving your brain something else to think about. You're disrupting that pattern. And so whether you actually physically do it or you mentally rehearse this, your body, your brain and your body has this muscle memory that you just have to rehearse it, and you'll be able to call it back as a way to get yourself regrounded. Fawn or appease, love scoops. Give yourself a big hug. Give yourself a big love scoop. Yeah. And so those are all ways where you can interrupt that negative pattern or that below the line pattern so that you can get yourself above the line and help others get above the line and get into courage and effectiveness. Okay. So let's go through, now we're into number 3. So this is the 4 C's of effective communication, communicating with confidence. First step, connect. Connect with the person always. Connect with the human being. We're human beings before we're human doings. So connect. When you're starting a meeting, connect. Don't go right into work. Context. Context is the why. Why are we having this meeting? Even if you saw how I started this meeting, we connected. We connected as people first. And then I shared why. What's my ultimate why? That my ultimate intention is that you walk away with more confidence and being able to lean into tension with the tools that you'll have. That was my why for you. And then I asked you all, what was your why? Content is the what. What are we doing? What is it really? What are we talking about? And then commitment, this is the big one. What do we each agree to do? By when? By doing, so that. Really great framing. So I commit to, what do I commit to? Let's just say, I'll make something up. I commit to sending you an article about fear melters tomorrow by noon. So that would be what? By doing, sending you the article. By when? So that you'll have a hard copy and you can continue your own self-awareness and self-management journey. So using this framework by doing, so that is really powerful. This is where you more easily gain a commitment that you can follow through on. Okay. So what's catching your attention with this framework?
For me, it's always the commitment part. I say I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then did I stick to it?
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. Thanks, Kathy. That took a lot of courage. Well done. Well done. Thank you. What else?
I usually include action items in our minutes, and sometimes they are specific people um, who have, put up their hand or whatever. And sometimes it's would everybody please, which are the ones that, right, don't get done. Um, and I think it's a slightly different way to start meetings. Like, why are we having a business meeting?
Mhm.
What's the context? This is what we want to get out of our time together this evening.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, maybe having that clarity up front. I even had somebody just reach out for a 10-minute tune-up. And I always start with, so what do you most want to get out of our time together? If we can only accomplish one thing, what is the most important thing for you? That's another really great technique, using the for you.
Mm.
Because then if you just say, what's the most important thing, your brain is going here and it's going there, but you really want your brain kind of going in. So what's the most important thing for you today? And then your brain will kind of look inside. Okay, well, for me, the most important thing is that you all walk away with something that you can action in the next 2 weeks. Actually, you can action in the next 48 hours. So you can start making it real for you. Okay, so I have a couple of scenarios that I want to go through and have you kind of role play this framework. Okay, let me go through and I'll put you into breakout rooms. Okay, so the instructions again. So I've got 2 topics that you can work on or choose your own. Feeling disrespected and not honoring boundaries.
Mm.
So Helen and Lana, will you take that topic?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Feeling disrespected.
Yes, yeah. Feeling disrespected and not honoring boundaries.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Leadership concerns. Who's responsible? So Kathy and Penny. And aggressive behavior. And aggressive could be aggressive, could be passive aggressive, or really it can be passive. Okay, so one of you is going to be the one leading the conversation, and the other one is going to help sort of facilitate it. You're going to have a conversation, but you're going to keep in mind, connect first,
Mm.
context, why are we having the conversation? What are we talking about? And then gaining a commitment. Who's going to do what? By when? By doing what? So that. Okay. So Barb and Shy will have that one, aggressive behavior. And then Suzanne, I don't see you.
Oh,
I'll see if I can put you into a room.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you 7 minutes to have a good conversation using the framework. And again, have one person come back with a spokesperson. And what were some of the things that you learned or you discovered or resonated with you that will serve your group? Okay, here you go. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Hello, we're back.
Wow.
Well, both Chyler and I work along almost the same lines with people with, behaviors. And so we got the aggressive behaviors um
Very kismet.
subject. Yeah. I mean, that's all I've been teaching for the last 20 years is responding to
Right.
responsive behaviors. Yeah.
All
Right.
right, welcome back, everyone. Okay, so how about Barb and Shy? What was your big takeaway about using a communication framework like this?
I think the biggest thing we talked about was being able to recognize your own actions in that circumstance and how, you may not have intended to come off as aggressive, but it still happened and it still came off as that. I'm neurodivergent. I work with kids. A lot of the time, we miss the same context clues. And so when I'm just standing and I think I'm normally fine, but my arms are crossed and my face is just no emotion, I look annoyed to the kids and they don't want to approach me. And to me, I'm not being aggressive, but to them I am. And so being able to recognize that and try to preemptively,
Mm.
counteract it helps a lot, especially with passive aggressiveness, because I find that builds up and it is
Yeah,
awful. We both work with aggression, so it was really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, good, 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 good. And it's, taking that responsibility. And I think that's the biggest thing with gaining agreements is taking that responsibility. Yeah, good. And I liked how you used the word like preempt. What could I say? If I know this, what can I say? And I loved how you kind of talked about like that may not be your intention, but that's your impact
Mhm.
and own your impact. Yeah, good. Very good. Very good. Let's give them some love. Well done. Well done. All right. Okay, how about Kathy and Penny? What were your ahas?
Well, I actually had an example of something that had happened recently at work, which when we talked about leadership concern, and leadership concerns are when you get somebody, in this case, it was a passive aggressive move, and how it happens. And again, it could have been become a very aggressive behavior from the other person towards me. Um, and really what it was is making sure that a leadership concern is when something happens is that you have the ability to step back
Mm,
and not be reactive, to take time to assess the situation, to look at it from that perspective, my perspective. And as a leader, then I have to say, okay, I hear what you're saying. This is a solution for it. And going forward, let's deal with it this way.
very good. Very, very good. What is anybody else hearing about what Kathy just said? I just want to see what's sunk in there.
Well, actually, I heard Kathy giving the solution, saying, this is how we're going to deal with it, or this going forward. And I'm not sure that I, the passive aggressive person, am going to take that very well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know if I have gotten everything off my chest, or if we've gotten to the what's behind it all. The
Mm-hmm.
why is that important?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay, I'll
I
qualify that with saying what happened was in a Teams message sent
oh,
between paralegals and myself. So there had to be a resolution within it as to, I hear exactly what you're saying. If I miss this, I get it, no problem. So how about next time you just let me know and I can go back and I can fix it. And if you let me know in a timely fashion, then we can do a little quicker.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I
I
hear
think
exactly what you're saying. Had it
yeah,
been verbal conversation, it would have been a little bit more, okay, so tell me more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stay curious, not judgmental,
Yeah,
and move towards a collaborative solution where possible.
Mm.
That's where that active listening comes in, where you're iterating, you're building on. Yeah, good. Really, really
yeah.
good. Thank you. Lana and Helen. Go ahead, Lana. You got this.
Okay.
Well, no, I was having trouble with this because I actually it triggered me from something that happened to me at work this morning where I did feel disrespected, but I haven't dealt with it yet because I haven't had a chance to talk to the person.
Yeah.
but
Your
and the
commitment.
realizations that I have a hard time with boundaries anyways. That's still something I'm working on. So you know, the honoring boundaries, this, yeah. And I was just having, I think I got triggered and then I got stuck.
Yeah, and the first step in making a commitment is taking action. Like, first of all, you're pausing, you're stopping, so we don't react, we respond. So the more time that the appropriate amount of time from this morning to when you actually talk to that person, you're going to have a better response. If you dealt with it in that moment, you might have reacted. And when you react, you're reacting out of judgment, you're reacting out of ego. But when you respond, you're going to respond based on, I call it your captain or your critic. You know, this morning you might have responded out of your critic voice.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you'll respond out of your captain voice. Yeah. Had time to think about it, what's important. Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Really good. Okay. Could spend like 3 days just on this, but this is just a nice sort of brush stroke on some things for you to try and to practice together or practice with a partner, and how to have a conversation for action and for commitment. But it really starts at that first C. Connect first, because if I know you trust me and I trust you, you might share with me a hard truth, but because I trust you and I know you're in my corner, we can work through it. And so it really does start with that connection and why, and speaking in a way that somebody can hear you. Yeah. And sometimes you do need to take that time to respond and not react. Yeah. Well done. Good job, Lana. Yeah. All right. Okay. So then the last thing that we're working on, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit, is going through it. How do you create agreements? Creating accountability, creating agreements. We kind of talked a little bit about this, and it's about going through and really, taking away the sort of the fuzz and getting more clear, focused on what is it you really want. Going through and getting, really clear agreements. We talked a little bit about this in the 4 stages of, or the 4 C's of effective communication, but going through and gaining really clear agreements and clear commitments. Remember I said earlier, if I could just twitch my nose and work on one thing, that would be it. And so what it sounds like is, Suzanne, will you role play with me?
Sure.
Okay. So Suzanne, what I'd like to work on is for the next meeting for us to be really clear on what each and everybody's role is, so that there can be really strong role accountability.
Okay, so
I'm willing to do that.
yeah.
Okay, great, good. Okay, let's go.
I was already starting.
So sometimes it sounds like that. Like, are you willing to do that? And me, I go, yeah, sure, sign me up. Especially if it's something new, I love newness. It's like a shiny penny to me. But what ends up happening is I have to discipline myself to slow down and ask more questions. So, and it's your responsibility, Suzanne, before you say yes, to get as much information as you possibly need.
Okay.
So go ahead, ask me questions about what this should look like.
Okay, so what's going to happen after this? What can I when we do it again, what can I tell people to expect?
Yeah. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to go through and take 10 minutes with each person and go through. I'm just making stuff up here, but go through the PowerPoint in about 15 minutes with each person, so everybody has a sort of a brushstroke idea of what we talked about, so that you can go through and you can at least go through and have everybody have an awareness of what leaning into tension looks like.
So how will I know? Like you have some really great phrases. So how, what, uh, what, I'm not sure I'll do it well enough. How will I know what to say?
Yeah, you know what? You've gone through, you have the recording, you've got your own notes. Trust that you've got enough to go through and walk them through walk them through what leaning into tension, what it looks like. It's the three things that we talked about. Speak to how others can hear you, what gets in the way, and the framework.
Okay, so what if people have questions?
Yeah, good. So that's a really good thing to make sure that you take a look at what might be some questions that they might ask. So kind of preempt, have a list of questions in your pocket so that you have an idea of what questions they might ask. They might not ask them, so that you can say, hey, have you thought about, what about this? This was sort of something that I was curious about. So having some of those questions in your pocket. So
Okay.
again, the expectation is that you would go through in the next month to spend 15 minutes with each person and walk them through the highlights of leaning into tension and
Like with,
gaining a commitment and agreement with each person.
right. Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so can you maybe echo back to me what I said? I just want to make sure I'm a clear communicator.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so the people who aren't here, for instance, um, I can I can make dates with each of them for just 15 minutes. I'll go, I'll kind of review some of the recording and my notes and just say these are the three areas that we want to really cover off in turning tension into teamwork. And here's the highlights, particularly, the highlights for me. Um, and and is there something? What is there in here? Not is there something, but what is there in here that resonates with you that you are going to commit to going forward?
Well done. Yay.
So
So,
that was really. I'm writing that down. I just want to make sure I'm a clear communicator.
and I call it the echo, the echo. I know it's a Darleneism, but so often we'll go through and we'll echo. So, Suzanne, what I'm wanting you to do, and I'm expecting Suzanne to understand my perspective, but I won't know that until she actually echoes it back. So I call it the echo, the echo. I haven't patented it yet, but here you go. Because I think that's where the commitment, the commitment to action, making clear agreements, where it kind of falls down. And often the manager or the leader or the person that's making the request, they have much more clear idea of what they're looking for, and maybe what might get in the way. So Suzanne, before you say yes, I know you've got a conference and I know you've got this and I know you've got this. Can you really commit to this within 30 days?
Mm, right.
So if I have a sense that there's going to be a derail, like I
Hmm.
need to kind of be saying, hey, thank you. Thank you for saying yes. And do you really have capacity? Have you thought about this? What other support might you need from me? Because then in 30 days, Suzanne, let's make a date let's make a date in 2 weeks and see how you're doing. Then let's make a date in 30 days and celebrate. And my request also is that if you find that you're falling behind, I'm wanting you to make the commitment that you'll connect with me 1 week prior to the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that for me? Because I don't want to be surprised in 30 days.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And with commitment and people making their commitments, you get engagement. You get people feeling like they're part of the team, that they're contributing, and that's all enrolling. That's all making people feel like they matter. So although gaining commitments and agreements and accountability might sound hard sometimes, but it's what rises everybody up too.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be mean to hold people accountable or to hold yourself accountable. Yeah. Okay. All right. So at the very beginning, my promise to you is that you would walk away with 1 or 2 ideas of how to lean into tension by speaking in a way that somebody can hear you, by what kind of gets in the way sometimes anyway, and then giving you a framework where you can practice. So I know that we're 1 minute past, so I would love to hear just in one word what each of you are taking away. And if you don't mind, I'm going to call on you because I want to make sure that we get through this quickly and we make the time commitment. So how about Suzanne? What's in one word? What are you taking away?
Some great phraseology.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Barbara.
Just one word. I can't put one word into this.
Okay, you can have two or three. Go ahead.
Okay. Ensuring that, and this sounds silly, but everyone's on the same page, but
That's silly
that's
at
just
all.
a clear understanding of what the job is or what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. If we could just be really clear with setting expectations up front, either you take the time here or you take the time downstream, and it's a lot harder and a lot messier down here. Yeah, really good, Barbara. Well done. Kathy.
I gotta go right back to commitment, or to the communication and not being afraid to say to somebody, okay, I heard you say this. Did I hear that correctly?
Bring it to my eyes. Good job, Kathy. All right, Lana.
Connecting before commitment.
Oh, yes. Good job, Lana. Helen.
Go with the, I'll also say communicate clearly.
Nice, nice, nice. Good, good. And Penny, bring us home.
The 4 C's of communication, confidence,
Oh,
and making sure nobody's in the triangle.
yeah. Well,
Oh, that's
you're
good.
gonna be in the triangle. Just know when you are and get
Yeah.
yourself out. Take
Help
100%
others out.
responsibility. We're all in the triangle, sometimes all together. That's just being human. So, all right. So, on that note, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you for your time and letting me share my wisdom and my Darleneisms. And I wish you all the very best. If you have any questions, happy to go through and jump on a quick little call and do a 10-minute tune up with anybody. Goodbye.
Oh.